Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be lighthearted and fun. I am going to poke a little bit of fun at the Chanel Classic Flat Bag. Mine is in the black lambskin with the silver hardware, and this is a vintage pre-loved bag that I purchased last year from Fashion File, and it's a 6 series. I purchased it in very good condition and the price was really reasonable. So I've been very happy with this bag. I'm happy with the lambskin. I feel that the quality of the vintage bags is really just amazing compared to the more current quality and craftsmanship of Chanel. Not to say that the current quality is bad, but I think there is a substantial difference in the vintage versus the more modern or latest pieces, just based on my own experience here. Okay, so I'm going to give you a close-up of this bag as we go through the video, and I'm also going to share with you just the elements of this bag that I really love and enjoy and appreciate, and then some elements of this bag that I feel are a little bit unnecessary or outdated or frustrating, what have you. So I may be committing Chanel blasphemy for those of you who are die-hard Chanel fans out there, but I hope that you could just take this lighthearted and have some fun with me. Okay, so one of the things that I love about this Chanel Classic Flat Bag is the quilting. So some of the vintage bags out there, they do have more flattened out or hollowed out quilting. I did gravitate towards this one just because even though it is 20 years old, there is a little bit of that puff still left in the quilting. But regardless, in general, when we're looking at Chanel Classic Flaps, I think the quilting is just beautiful. I think the Chanel quilting is something that stands out, and I think from a design aesthetic, I really do appreciate what Coco Chanel did there, not only with the reissue, but with this classic flap version. So yes, I do love the quilting. I feel like it's aesthetically pleasing. It is not too busy or loud. It's just a simple pattern, and it gives it a little bit of a different, interesting texture and look to the bag. I'll turn it over. So for sure, one of the things that I love about Chanel Classic Flaps is the quilting. I know there are also chevron patterns and others, but the quilting, in my opinion, is the best pattern. Again, my personal preference. The next favorite thing that I love about the Chanel Classic Flaps is the chain. Now, the story goes that Chanel had to actually substitute in some of the leather instead of using all chain. So for those of you who, I'm sure you know if you're already Chanel fans, the original design was actually the 2.55, which is often referred to as the reissue. It has the rectangle Mademoiselle lock, and then nowadays you see a lot of the quilting in aged calfskin, but it comes in a variety of different leathers and fabrics. But that was the first, and that has all chain, it's all metal. And then when this came out, you see you have the interwoven leather with the chain. And so the story goes that because there was a shortage of resources or a shortage of supply, the leather had to be substituted in. So it was more a matter of necessity versus, I guess, a design choice. But I love this because I'm not a huge fan of bags with just all chain. I feel like either it makes it look a little bit too dressy, and I like to be able to dress my bags up and down. So you'll notice from my collection, if you watch my entire handbag collection video, almost all of my bags have leather straps to them. And also I feel that when it's all metal chain, it could feel quite cold to the touch, especially on your shoulder, on a bare skin. And I think when it's interwoven with leather, it just has a softer feel to it. So I definitely love the Classic Flaps chain. The next thing I absolutely love about the Chanel Classic Flap is the turn lock. How can you not love the turn lock? I think turn locks are just fun. They're secure. I know my kids like to play with this. Yes, my kids do play with my Chanel bags. So yeah, this little turn lock I think is just really eye-catching. It's got a signature look to it. It is definitely functional in that it keeps your items secure, and it's just easy to get in and out of versus, let's say, a larger zipper compartment from the outside or a typical magnetic closure, which may not be as secure. So I do love the turn lock feature. Also, for those of you who've been with me for a while, you know that I really love just the tactile feel of things, and that's why I love the quilting and I love the squeakiness of the chains here. And the same goes for the turn lock. If you're like me, I think it just, I don't know, it feels nice and it's fun to open and close. So definitely that is another feature that I really, really enjoy. I'm going to open it up here. I do love, unlike many people or some people out there who don't like the sort of cumbersome feature of the double flap, I do love the bag within a bag concept because it is so Chanel-esque. It really is Chanel. This is how the original bags came out. They always had the double flaps. For a number of years, they did introduce single flaps and then they were discontinued, but the original Chanel bags are all double flap like this. And some people say it's to maintain the structure of the bag, which really does work well because you have, again, one small bag within the larger bag, and so there's a lot of material here. Other people say that it's so that the items can be stored a little bit more discreetly, meaning that when a lady opens their bag, you don't just see all of their items right away. You'd have to kind of, sneak a peek by opening the second flap. So I don't know really the reasoning, but I do like the double flap. I do. It's not cumbersome for me. It's really not annoying to open and close. Again, this is the medium large size. I have heard on the jumbo size, the double flaps can be a little bit cumbersome. I've also heard that it makes it a lot heavier. So that is definitely something to consider. But for the medium large size, I don't find this bag to be too heavy. And I am quite a stickler for the weight of my bags because I don't like them to be heavy and uncomfortable on my shoulder, but this is pretty manageable even when it's packed. It's not one of my lightest bags at all, but it's definitely within the weight range that is comfortable for me. I also love the burgundy lining. So story has it that Chanel was inspired by the orphanage that she grew up in, and the uniforms that she and the other children wore in the orphanage were burgundy. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know if history has proved that to be true or not, but it's a pretty cool story, and I love the humble roots behind Chanel and the story of how she rose to be Chanel, Coco Chanel. So I love the burgundy lining. And then also from a functional standpoint, we all know that it's easier to find our items when the inside is not black lined or if it's not the same exact color as the bag itself. I just feel like when you open it up, if there is some different pop of color, it's easier to spot your belongings. So I do love the burgundy lining. I know that for a number of years, there were a few series where the classic flaps came out with black lining, and that's very chic and also very pretty, but if I had to choose, I would definitely go for the burgundy lining just because of the history and the story behind it, and also, like I said, it's easier to see your items when there is some color there. Okay, so those are the things that I absolutely love about this bag. Obviously, there are many other things that I love about this bag, but those are the first few items or features, I should say, that pop in my head. But there are other elements of the bag that I don't really like, and I'm not going to use the word hate because I think that's too strong. But for example, let's go to the back of the bag. So this is oftentimes referred to as the Mona Lisa smile pocket, which is really cute. And it's nice. I'd rather have a back pocket than not, because if you do need to slip some slim items in here, like a paper receipt or a parking ticket or Metro card or even a Band-Aid or, those disposable hand sanitizers, you can easily slip something in there. It's very narrow, but you can slip it in. I wouldn't put anything bulky in here because then I would worry about the stitching coming loose. But what I would change and this is where I'm afraid I'm committing Chanel blasphemy, but take it for what it is. What I would change if there was a modern, more updated version of this bag would be to make the pocket larger and perhaps a little less snug so that you could put your phone back here. Now, I know this is lambskin, but with the caviars, I think that it would be much more durable and less scratch prone, so you could easily slip your phone in. This pocket is too small for really any sized cell phone, as far as I can tell. And if you are familiar with the Chanel classic clutch, the classic clutch with chain actually comes with one single shorter chain. It's really beautiful. It's flatter. It's just gorgeous though. That one, interestingly, has a pocket that is the full size of the back. The entire back is an open pocket, which I think is really smart from a functionality standpoint. So this little pocket, the one thing I would change is just to make it a little bit bigger for the modern days modern girls' use, or whatever you would say. Yeah, the modern day woman's use. Okay, the other thing that I would probably want to change is the length of the chain strap. So this can be doubled up like so as a short shoulder strap, and then it can also be pulled for to be a longer shoulder strap, which is the way I would wear it. However, it cannot be worn crossbody unless you don't mind it sitting pretty high up. For me, it hits me right at the top of my rib cage, right below my my bra line. So it's a little too high. And then if it's fall or winter and I have a bulky coat, then it's just really tight. It's really, really tight. So I guess it would depend on your height and your body frame. I am about 5'5" tall, and it's just a little too short for my liking. If it were maybe 2 or 3 inches longer, I think it would be fantastic to have the crossbody option. But I do realize that when this bag was first introduced way back in the 1950s, or was it the 1950s? Anyhow, quite a while ago, that, this was pretty modern for women back then because they were used to having to carry their bags in the crook of their arm or on their in their hands. And so Chanel really sort of revolutionized the idea of handbags being able to be slung over your shoulder. But I think for today, even more modern version of this would be to make the chain strap a little bit longer. Oh, there's a little loose stitch here. For it to be worn crossbody. The minis, like the caviar, not the caviar, what am I saying? Oh, the Chanel minis that are square or rectangle, they're really functional because both of them can be worn crossbody. So that's the one thing I would say about the chains. What else? Oh, when you open this up, there is a little button here for the interior flap, which I imagine is to keep your items as secure as possible. But I don't know anyone out there that actually uses this button, and it's actually kind of hard to match up and really sort of smush together. It's not really easy. So most people, and including myself, we just leave it open and then we close it like so with just the exterior turn lock. So I would think if Chanel were to update this design, then you could either remove the snap closure entirely or make this a button closure, kind of like the way they did with the Chanel wallet on chain recently. Last year they introduced the same model of the wallet on chain, but they changed a few little things like the zipper pull and also the closure, and now it is magnetic, so it's just easier. See, if it was magnet, it would just close almost automatically when you close the outside flap. So that's one thing I would change. I'm not a designer. I'm not trying to knock Chanel. I obviously love Chanel. Otherwise, I wouldn't own this bag and I wouldn't be making videos about Chanel. But I'm just saying, if a girl could have it her way, then these are the small little aesthetic or design tweaks that I would make. Also, if I'm going for it, I'm going to talk about this pocket here. So this zipper compartment is kind of funky. It goes upward. It does not go down at all. It ends right here. So there's no space on the bottom of the zipper compartment. It's just right here about 1.5 inches or so. And it goes all the way along from left to right. So rumor has it, or history says, that Chanel stored her love letters in this little pocket. I don't know if that's true or if that's just a really kind of glamorous, sensationalized version of the story, but this pocket here to me is fairly useless. I don't know what others use it for. If you own a Chanel Classic flap and you have ideas on what to use this compartment for, please let us know in the comments below. Of course, you can stick some small things in here, but it's just not that functional. Now, on the Chanel wallet on chain, there's also a similar zipper compartment on the inside flap, but it's really cool because you can put your whole entire hand and it goes all the way down to the very bottom of the bag. So that is very functional. You can put your passports in there, you could put large bills and cash and what have you. This to me is not that functional, so I would say maybe either get rid of it if they were going to do a modern take on this bag, of course, I would say maybe get rid of this, because also the zipper pull here does get in the way in terms of closing the flap. It indents here a bit, as you can see. So since this is not really functional, at least to me, I wouldn't mind it going away or the compartment being made a little bit bigger somehow. There's also this back compartment or back pocket, which I don't believe is meant to really be a pocket. It's just the space between the two bags, again, like that bag within a bag concept that I mentioned earlier. So there's really delicate stitching on each side. You probably cannot see because it's hard to see when it's black on black. But if you use this pocket bag here for items very frequently, you can actually pop the stitching on the side. So I actually don't use that back pocket. Okay, and then what's the other thing? Oh yeah. So I thought this was a really cute concept, and when I first got this bag, I thought, yeah, I'll just put my lipstick in here or my little lip balm. I don't know if it's just the cases for my lip glosses and lip balms, but it does not fit comfortably in here. None of them fit comfortably in here. A pen doesn't fit comfortably in there. There's really nothing that fits in here. I would have to really squish a lipstick in there. I don't know if back in the day lipsticks were smaller, but this, let me give you a close-up. This pocket here is fairly useless. Again, to me, I'm sure some other people have different uses for it. But these pockets on the side are definitely functional. I can put my card holder. I can put some cash. Here I'm carrying my authenticity card. By the way, this is a 6 series. I don't remember if I mentioned that earlier in the video. Yeah, and then I do really like, actually, this pocket here. I store my phone in the front pocket, so it's easy to access. This is a nice pocket. I'm all for compartments, but they have to be functional, and you know, the size has to be practical, not tiny little pockets or tiny little zipper compartments. So yeah, I just thought this video would be fun to make and just kind of really examine the Chanel Classic Flap with a modern eye. I still absolutely love this bag. Will I get another Chanel Classic Flap bag? Probably no. I would say almost definitely no. I think that one Chanel Classic Flap is plenty for a woman, and I tend not to duplicate bags. I don't have any duplicates at all in my collection. I'm also trying to be a bit more minimalist. I think I'm far from it, but I'm working towards being more minimalist and really having a tightly curated collection. I'm probably going to be selling off some bags or donating some bags. For those of you who missed my earlier video where I show my entire handbag collection, or my entire luxury handbag collection actually, it was 12 bags that I featured. I will link that down below in the description box in case you missed it and you want to check it out. But I don't want to exceed 12. I feel like that's more than enough. There's only 7 days in a week, so I really don't technically need any more bags at all. I have plenty at the moment. Yeah, and I feel like if I were to get another Chanel Classic Flap bag, I probably wouldn't appreciate them as much. The fact that I have one really makes me appreciate and admire her. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you, I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with some of the design features that I talked about, the ones that I like and the ones that I don't like? What changes would you make? I'm actually really curious. So let me know in the comments down below. And if you are new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe because we do have a lot of fun here. And by the way, I am very close to reaching 5,000 subscribers, so thank you so very much to all of you who have been supporting me, especially my original fans who have been with me since day one. I am so appreciative that I can keep this channel going, especially during this time. It's a really nice distraction, and it's kind of nice to just dive into the frivolous world of handbags when life gets a bit too serious. So thank you again. I do have a giveaway coming soon just as a gratitude gift to one of my lucky subscribers, so please stay tuned for that. And like I said, if you are new, I'd love for you to join the fun. Thanks very much. Bye bye.